Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It is Spanish Grand Prix time. Awesome. Well, I hope you like my little Española music in the background. We said we'd change it up today to kind of try and fit for the Grand Prix itself. We were even looking up some, the music we've got a copyright to, and you could, good selection, but this was actually the closest we could get. Like, nice Spanish guitar, but it's not really, is it? Almost sounds like a porno movie or a ballet or something. I don't know which one. But anyway, it'll do. It'll do. So guys, what's going on? Hey, before we get into Spanish Grand Prix, well, that was an interesting Monaco Grand Prix last weekend, wasn't it? Whoa. Like, the way you see, Verstappen took a good lead, had a good lead all the way through, and then all of a sudden, spoiler alert, all of a sudden, bang, rain comes down and utter carnage. It was unreal. I would say 90% of the drivers hit the wall when the rain came down. And to be fair to them, guys, I know what it's like racing those conditions. You're on slick tires. You've got no protection for the rain with those tires, right? They're designed for just dry conditions. So it's not like your road car where you've got jagged edges and patterns in the tire. These are just bald, which I'm sure you've probably seen anyway. But then the rain comes down and one part of the track is really damp, greasy, and then all of a sudden within 15 seconds, it starts to pour down on that part of the track. So it went from a damp track to a wet track in that area. But then the other side of the track, right, the front end, was actually bone dry. So again, guys, it's really, really hard to be fair, and Monaco's very twisty, it's tight. So, and in fact, I'll give it to Lewis Hamilton. He actually explained the best way he could. He said driving in Monaco with a Formula 1 car is like driving a rocket in a car park. And I went, no, that's good, that's good. So it kind of hopefully that gives you an idea of what it would be like. So, I mean, Jesus, everybody had a moment, I'll put it that way. If you didn't hit the wall, you were drifting wide off into the extra bit of tarmac, and luckily for them, there was an extra bit of tarmac instead of a concrete wall, because as you all know and you've watched Monaco, most of the track, 99% of it, is a concrete wall. So it was a very tough decision. And unfortunately for Alonso, that was his one chance in 3, I would say, this year. Verstappen got a easy win. It really was, even though he had a few moments too. Right, I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he even hit the wall. He hit the wall in qualifying once, and then he hit the wall, I think, twice in the race. So he got away very, very lucky, he did, Verstappen. He was blessed. So it was interesting. It was fun to watch because everybody just went into complete meltdown. So that's what we want to see, right, guys? This is what we got the popcorn out for, the blankets out for, and hopefully now the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend. So just a quick recap: Verstappen won last weekend, Alonso second, and followed by Ocon, who had a brilliant race last weekend. I mean, in fairness to the Alpine team, great result for them. They certainly shouldn't be getting a third position. They really shouldn't. But hey, they pulled it out of the bag, so congrats to them. Now, where do we go from here? We are moving on. It's not even 1 week later yet, and we are nearly at the F1 track. So before we get to the Spanish Grand Prix, let's have a check at the driver standings. So at the moment, Verstappen leading at 144. Perez coming in second at 105. Now he's got some work to do. He had an off, as we saw, and he had a disaster weekend. So he's 39 points behind. He's got a mountain to climb. He really does. It's still a long way to go. I mean, the problem here with F1, right? Every weekend I've spoken about this, as you know, because I'm covering every weekend. Every weekend I'm saying it's still a long way to go, but eventually that's going to catch up with us, and it won't be a long way to go. Now, there's still quite a bit to go, so He made a mistake in qualifying. Hey, look, it happens to the best of us. It happens to every driver out there in the world. We all make mistakes as humans. You'd forgive him. But he can't afford to have any more mistakes for the rest of the year. Like, he really can't. Especially with this gap, 39 points. Like, basically, guys, that's pretty much almost 2 wins ahead Verstappen has. It's not exactly, but it's close enough. And Verstappen's been so dominant, you can't afford to be back on the back foot against Verstappen's car being so good. You just can't afford any mistakes. So, hopefully for him, right? You know, he seems like a nice guy. He's a pretty good driver. So hopefully for Perez, he's done now. He's got it out of his system. I mean, Verstappen could mess up the next race. He could get entangled. You just don't know what's going to happen, what's going to come up. So we'll just have to wait and see. Alonso's closed the gap. He's on 93 points. Now that makes things very interesting for him. I mean, Alonso's 93 versus 105, so that's 12 points in the gap. So for Alonso, he's looking good here for second position. Now, you know what? End of the day, second's no good to you. Third's no good to you. Right? It's either champion or nothing. However, it kind of makes it a bit more real that there still is a possibility. I've been writing off Alonso even last weekend. I was saying, no, I think it's pretty much over now. I didn't rule it out completely, but I was saying, yeah, it's over. Alonso still got a shot. He's only 12 behind Perez. All it takes is Verstappen to have a couple of mess-up weekends, and Perez and Alonso are back in the game. Because if Verstappen does have a few bad rounds here, you have not just Perez, you've got Perez and Alonso on your ass. So he's got 2 guys to worry about now instead of the 1. So, I mean, you know, Verstappen is not under huge, tremendous pressure here. Sorry, guys, I can barely speak in English properly. He's not under huge pressure here to, I have to make sure I win. He can afford to have a few second positions. You know, with a gap like that, he's looking comfortable at the moment. So, hey, we'll see. We'll see. Now, you know what? I'll leave it at the top 3 for now. In the championship standings. So where will we look at next? The next track itself, I suppose, shall we? Let's do it, guys. Let's do it. So, Española, Catalonia. It's outside Barcelona. Beautiful track, guys. It's going to be very hot down there. I think it's going to be great for Carlos Sainz and Alonso. Definitely going to be a lot of pressure for them this weekend. You know, it's going to be a great weekend, but a very, very intense, pressurized weekend for them too. They're the 2 home heroes, the 2 home favorites. They're 2 Spanish guys driving in Spain. They're going to feel the home pressure, and you can't rule Alonso out yet. Well, we'll come to the predictions, and you can't rule Carlos Sainz out yet for a win. You know, I mean, they've got a chance, right? It's not a huge chance, but there is a chance. So I think you're going to see a lot of Ferrari top supporting Sainz this weekend, and the Aston Martin green. I think you're going to it's going to be full of red and green, and it's going to be supporting their Spaniard, their local boy. So the Spanish track, guys, it's really cool actually. They do a lot of their winter testing at this track, Catalonia. I think it's just positioned in Europe at a good place. It's got a mixture of a combination of slow, medium, and high-speed bends. So it's a great place for them to test their cars, especially now that there's limited testing throughout the year. So they only get, you know, a certain amount, and after that, they're on their own. That's it. They just arrive up at a race weekend and they go. So it's going to be interesting. The track itself, it's quick. You've got, I would say in general, it's more medium speed all the way around. So if anything, it's a mid-speed track, more so than anything. In other words, the drivers and teams are going to have to focus on, really, that's the most important part. That's the key. getting out of those mid-speed corners as fast as you can. And it's actually very, very similar to Monaco. The secret is not getting into the bend as quick as you can and carrying the speed in. The secret to Catalonia is getting you out of the corner as fast as you can, because you can carry the momentum into the next bend or up the long straight, which is the main start-finish straight. So it's all about your exit speed at Catalonia. So they, like, in other words, guys, like, they can even afford to go in a little slower than normal, but as long as they're going in a little slower, if they've got the grip, the car is loaded up, they can get on that throttle as quick as they can coming out of the bend, and they will just shoot down that straight. And even if they get 1 mile an hour extra than the guy in front. So let me give you an example. So if they're going into, let's say, a left-hand corner, right? A mid-speed left-hand corner, which would be kind of like turn 7, right? If they go in at, let's say you got 2 guys going into the bend. One guy's going in at 100 mile an hour. One guy's going in at 99 miles an hour. So the guy behind is doing 99. He's going in slower. However, he's going to have a chance to get on the power a lot quicker than the guy in front, because he's going in a little bit slower, right? He's not on the limit. So he's sacrificing a little speed going in to get out quicker. Slow in, fast out. That's pretty much the golden rule of karting, cars, all racing in general. So it's going to be extremely important. Now, that rule you can also throw out sometimes, because it depends on the type of track. I mean, if you're at Spa, it's all about carrying as much speed into the bends as you can, keeping the grip levels high, and darting out of the bend as well. So all about slow in and fast out. Now, okay, that's the track. Now, what would I say? The favorite of the weekend, you know, I'm gonna have to say, guys, and I hate saying it because, look, Alonso's my boy, as you all know. You've probably heard me say it a trillion times already. He's my boy, my number one. But I think he's not gonna have a chance this weekend. I know I said a few minutes ago he's got a chance, but if you get down to the nitty gritty, the bottom line, who's performing, who's not performing, whose car is it going to be ideal around Catalonia, etc., right? You're gonna go with the Red Bulls. Now, in general, because Alonso's got a chance, simply for the reason that you just never know what's going to happen in sport. But if things go Red Bull's way, which they are for now, and let's face it, they're kicking ass, you're gonna have to put your money on Verstappen or Perez. Now, I'm gonna go with, and I always toss between this one, I'm gonna go with Perez on this one. I think he's got a lot more to lose, but he's got a lot more to gain too. Like, in a way, he's actually got nothing to lose. Do you know what I mean? Like, he has to go out and just go. Absolutely fucking go. But he's got everything to lose then if he doesn't do that. If that makes sense. So he like, this is it. The guy's got to be on it from here. Now, so I'm going to go with Perez for the win. Verstappen for second. I'm going to go with, and you know what? I'm going to think about this for a minute. I'm going to go with either Carlos Sainz for third or Alonso for third. So the home heroes battling for third. That's what I think is going to happen. I just don't see how any of the teams are going to capture the Red Bulls this weekend, unfortunately. So, okay, I'm going to go with... You know what? Give me a minute, guys. As we talk about this, let me just shoot the shit here, and I'm gonna just think about this. I'm gonna put this on the back burner, and it's gonna burn. It's gonna simmer away. It's gonna cook. I'll come out with the results, my predictions in a few minutes. Right now, let's get down to it. Tech news. Well, as we all know, Hamilton and Russell, the Mercedes team, they had some major upgrades at the weekend. Now, it was interesting to read between the lines what they were saying there. Now, like, I can read between the lines. I know when a driver's bullshitting or not. And Hamilton is saying, oh, the upgrades are brilliant, they're fantastic, of course. We don't know yet because of Monaco, because it's so twisty and tight. So when we get to different tracks, well, we'll have much more of an idea, but it's looking really, really good, right? Now, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say he's full of it right here. Because there is slow, tight tracks on the calendar up and coming. There is medium speed tracks that are coming up in the calendar. Now, they might not be as tight as Monaco, but they are bloody slow and medium fast speed bends. So they do have an idea what their car is going to be like. Because they could go to, let's say, Spa. Very, very quick track, right, guys? So let's say he is right? And the car comes out, they win in Spa, they dominate. The problem is, they'll go to somewhere like Hungary, in Budapest, which is a tight, twisty track, and that's slow as fuck, right? That's like Monaco. A little bit quicker in some parts, but, I mean, it's not a street circuit, but it fucking might as well be. So they're going to struggle like they did in Monaco at that track. So what I'm saying is, guys, Hamilton is saying, well, we don't know yet. Well, yes, you do, my man. You do. You might be good in higher speed tracks like Spa, but you do have an idea of what the track is like. So look, he's full of shit, but you know what? I don't blame him either. Like, he doesn't want to give an edge over to the other teams. You know, he doesn't want to come out and say, well, it's all fucked, it's all doom and gloom, it's all over. He doesn't want to say that. You know, he wants to keep the psychological edge, which I understand. I'd understand. So, look, maybe calling him full of shit's a bit hard. Maybe. But you know what I mean anyway, guys. So, okay. Excuse me. So, Mercedes did have a couple of the upgrades on hand in Monaco. So they changed the side pods. They've bigger ones now. So the side pods bring in the air. They were bigger, which means the wind is going in. It should help for downforce. In other words, it'll go into the side pod, push the car down to the ground. They have a new floor as well, which obviously will go matching with the side pod and the floor. They're improving their rake, which basically it's kind of like ride height, guys. So in other words, it's the distance from the ground to the bottom of the car. In other words, is it 5 inch? Is it 5 mil off the ground? Is it right? So it's the distance. Now rake, you can use more ride height on the front of the car versus the back. So the car is, if you're watching me on YouTube, you can see what I'm doing. The car is like this, right? So it's almost like it's pointing down to the ground, to the front of the car. So they've improved that, but that all makes sense if you're changing the floor anyway. Now, they look like they have a longer wheelbase car. Now, I saw that in a photo. Now, you see, the problem is, guys, because we're on the outside, obviously Mercedes want to keep a lot of their updates and major upgrades secret as much as they can. Of course they do. Totally understandable. So it's still hard to get the exact information just yet. Because, I mean, even the journalists online, I was looking up Google, guys, F1.com, I was looking for all the upgrades, and they're mentioning what they have changed, but we don't know the fine detail yet. And once I know anything, I'll let you guys know ASAP. So, yeah, it looks like that there are obviously aerodynamic issues. A longer wheelbase tells me that they've actually got too much grip, and they're trying to lose grip. Longer the wheelbase... Yeah, longer the wheelbase, and it's going to stretch out the car. It kind of sounds a bit complicated to explain, but I think it does look like they are struggling. So the longer wheelbase, to me, tells me a lot about what's going on. I don't think they've really got anything to really throw at anybody else, you know? Like I was saying last week, they had to have had the mother of all upgrades coming into Monaco. because Red Bull is so dominant, the other teams are going to be going for it anyway. They're going to come out with no new upgrades. So even if they get an advantage, well, the other teams are going to have an advantage when they upgrade. So to get a real jump on everybody else, like they honestly would have to come out with the update that ends all updates. And if it really was that good, we would have seen that last week, because the Aston Martin, Alonso's car, the Red Bull, their cars are very well balanced. A very well balanced car goes well in all types of track. So that tells me a lot of what's going on. Now, they might, like we were talking about already, they might go well at high-speed tracks. We'll see. So look, we'll see what happens at Spain this weekend with the upgrades. It'll be interesting to see how much of a difference it's going to make for them, if it even does itself. So, right guys, let's move this on, and we're even going to close this off now in a second. Now, what I want to do here is, I'm going to finish every episode, all the preview Formula 1 episodes now, that is I'm going to put myself as the driver, right? As in the top favourites for the weekend. And if I'm the driver, what would I do this weekend? Because, guys, I've been there hundreds of times. Use race strategy, you know types of strategy, you know most of them inside out, right? Now, if I'm Verstappen this weekend, let's go with him. Verstappen, like we said, he's got a bit of a cushion. So he doesn't have to come out the gate storming this weekend. If he puts it on pole, fantastic for him, and he'll probably shoot off into the sunset and win the race. Okay? You'd have to... for Spain now, I would be saying that. Perez, he has to win. He can't be picking up second and second and second and second. He's got to close that gap, guys. What did we say it was? 39 points? He's really got to make some moves now. If he wants to win that championship, he's got to go now. He's made his mistakes. It's done. So if I'm Perez this weekend, I'm shooting for pole. All right. At worst, okay, I'll take a front row. All right. I still want to get one up on my teammate though. Right. I want to put a little bit of pressure back on him now. As in, like, hey man, I haven't gone away. So if he gets it on pole, it'll be just a nice little icing on the cake for him. If he's on the front row, that's okay. He's still in with a great shot to win the race. If I'm Perez, I'm going to go on the hard tyres this weekend and do a real long run at the start. Make sure I defend my first or second as long as I can. If somebody's up my ass, keep them behind me as much as I can and get the laps in. Do one pit stop on the hard tyres and hopefully leap ahead of anybody in a pit stop, or even better, pull out ahead even further once the other guys pit stop. Right? And I'm obviously going for the win this weekend. So I'll be going for a one pit stop here this weekend if I'm Perez. Right. Who are we looking at next? Carlos Sainz. Let's have a look at him. Right, well, he's out of the championship. Unless every single driver in front of him doesn't finish the next 5 races, well then he's back in, but that ain't gonna happen. Okay? It's just not. Sainz, he's got nothing to lose, so he's got a bit of a luxury in that way. He doesn't have to worry about a championship. He has the pressure of home race, but it'll still fire him up. No question about it, guys. He's not going to buckle under the pressure or anything like that. He's going to be up for it this weekend. He's going to just... It would be a dream for him. It would be like winning Monaco Grand Prix for him. It'd be like it'd be like winning the championship for him, I would say, winning his home race in front of all his fans. So for Sainz, I think Ferrari will try and give him the race result this weekend. I think they will. You know, Spanish Grand Prix, they'll sell a lot more merchandise, Ferrari hats, etc. Make a little bit more money. It just looks good for the Ferrari brand. If Ferrari win in Spain with their home driver, always looks fantastic. So I think they're going to favour Sainz this weekend. They'll put more attention into him anyway. What would I say then? Now for Sainz, he really needs to be on the front row for him. So if I'm him, I'd be delighted with second because he hasn't had pace. His performances have been bad this year. So if I'm him, if I even get on off pole second, hey, I'm fucking delighted then. If I get a pole, oh dear God, oh my God, this is amazing. Now, I think they're going to be quick. They've got a great engine speed. They're always good in qualifying at the moment. Ferrari, that is. So it'll be interesting to see now. So that's my plan. Get on the front row. If I'm on the second row, that's okay. I'm still in with a shot. But I'd be going on I'd probably go on a 2-stop for this one. A 2-stop. Or a 1... Yeah, it's hard to know. Maybe a 1-stop, actually. Keep going. Keep the Red Bulls behind me as much as I can. Yeah, I'd be going for a 1-stop, actually, this weekend, guys. That's what I'd be going for. And then, hopefully, you defend if you have to. And get the win. If I'm Alonso... Well... If I can like Sainz, actually, if I can stick it on the front row, I'm all good. I'm all good. I'm happy because I don't see Alonso doing well this weekend. I'm sorry, I just don't. I think he's going to struggle. Like I've been saying, guys, he's got a great balance in the car, and it'll be good. Especially going through transitioning between corner and corner, right? Changing direction. Okay, direction change will be very, very important this weekend because you're going into a right-hander followed instantly by a left-hander, so the car has to change direction very, very sharp. So Alonso's car is very good, and of course the Red Bull is as well. So for Alonso, I'd be over the moon if I can get it on the front row. If I get on the second row, I'm happy, and you obviously want the win, but I'd be happy to get on the podium if I was Alonso this weekend in front of the crowd, because there's no way I'd be expecting a win. It's just no way, unless they find something, and you never know. And hey guys, you know what? I hope I'm wrong on that one, because I want my boy Alonso to win, especially at Spain, his home track. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Fuck. Yeah, so it's going to be exciting, guys. It's going to be exciting, and I think, you know what? We'll leave it here now. We'll leave it here now on this note. And what I'll do, guys, is I'll be back on Monday morning with my reaction from Spain, and it'll be interesting. I think the weather looks good at the moment down there. It normally is. It's Barcelona in Spain. God's sake, beautiful weather down there. So let's find out, guys. Ladies and gents, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you later.